see most of the human race killed off because it is unworthy. It is unworthy of the gift of life.
I don't care what society thinks. They're nothing anyway. They're no better than me.
Until we hear the safe word, we will not stop.
Have you ever thought what it would be like to see a person's head amputated? Think of things so horrible that the human mind cannot imagine them. To see all this and more when you see on stage, in person, that crazy mix-up.
I like being set apart from people. I like to be hated.
Safe Word with Jason Rouse.
La la la. La la la.
You got me? You can hear me?
Got ya.
Awesome.
Hey, this is Jason Rouse and welcome to Safe Word Podcast. My guest on what day is it today?
What is it, Tuesday, I think?
Tuesday.
November I don't know. That's a good question. It all kind of blends together here. There's no weather, so everything just kind of looks the same here. November 14th.
And my guest is Andrew Ryan Fox.
That's correct.
From Toronto, as I can see by your Toronto Maple Leafs hat.
Yeah, I'm kind of repping the whole thing today with the
gotta,
shirt and the hat and the whole thing, yeah.
That shirt, I didn't recognize the graphic, but I knew the initials right away. A bunch of fucking goofs.
You're the only person here who does. Everybody else is Big Friendly Giant. What does BFG mean? Nobody fucking knows here. So.
Do you want to explain? Well, first of all, you're a musician who's made the transition into comedy.
Yeah, I was in a band called the Three Tards in Canada for about 15 years almost, and then when we broke up, and I still wanted to kind of be on stage. And comedy was actually something I did. I shouldn't say I did. Comedy was something I wanted to do when I was a kid, and then 25 years ago, when I was like 13, back when I did like 2 amateur nights at the Yuck Yucks up when it was still in Yorkville.
Yorkville?
Yeah.
No way.
This is like 1993, right?
No shit. How old were you?
I was 13.
How old are you now?
37, almost
okay.
38. Yeah, so I did those 2, and then apparently it became a big disruption in my school, and they talked to my folks to stop, and then my folks stopped me from doing it. And then I found out, about a year later, I found drugs and punk rock, and I kind of forgot about comedy. But then for 20 years, I dined out on it, where I was like, anytime I'd meet somebody, he's, oh yeah, I did comedy for my 2 fucking amateur nights.
Yeah.
And finally, I was working at Fillmore's in Toronto, of all fucking places.
Oh, the strip club.
The strip club, yeah.
I like it.
Yeah, it's great. Now that Chili's is gone, it's about the dirtiest strip club in the city now.
Chili's.
I know, what a shame. So I was DJing there, like emceeing, and one of the other MCs was a comic, and he ran a room, and I kept talking, and he's like, you know what, why don't you shut the fuck up and come do fucking stand-up again? And, I kind of miss being on stage, so I went and did it. And then you know how it goes. The first show was great because all my friends were there. And then the second show, I fucking bombed horribly. And then I was like, well, now I have to keep fucking doing it because it's,
You've
something I gotta get
redeem yourself.
Yeah. And then I ate shit for like 2 years and then finally started to get not bad. And so it's been, 6 years now or so I've been doing stand-up. So
that 2-year part, that growth period early in your career, I think is a comedian coming up in Toronto, 2 years is kind of when you find your stride.
I think so.
I did anyway, right? A year and a half, 2 years. And then you start to kind of get a little more, ideally well-rounded picture of what to do in stand-up.
I think so. Well, and it was about the 1.5, 2 year mark where people would actually pay me once in a while to do stand-up. And I was, kind of started to get semi-professional at it. And then I was in Mexico for a couple of years. I got a job, and I was living in Playa del Carmen. And
what were you doing in Mexico?
It was just weird. I was working for an HVAC company, and they managing a call center for them, and they sent me down there to open a call center in Mexico because it was cheaper to do it there than to have one here. But there, the town in Playa del Carmen, there were 5 other Canadian 4 Canadian and 1 American comic actually living in Playa, and they had a show. So I started doing it, and we did shows 2 shows a week for tourists for 2 years.
How far is that from Mexico City?
Oh, it's far. It's south of Cancun, about an hour south of Cancun.
Okay.
So on the Caribbean coast. It's very touristy town.
A lot of Canadians.
Yeah,
Snowbirds.
Tons.
Okay. Yeah.
So we did comedy, 2 years doing 2 shows a week. Which is great for, being able to be on stage in front of people, but not so good for, working out new material or anything because you're literally...
Tourism. It's not really, they're really there. They want to see celebrities and they want to gawk. They're not really interested in finding your craft.
No, they don't want to, so if you wanted to work on a new bit, you could kind of slowly over the course of several weeks kind of slip it in among, but, you're getting paid to kind of be entertaining to people.
You're a cruise ship act in
Exactly.
that
It's
form.
exactly what it is. It's like being a boat act. It's exactly the same kind of thing, except for you're on land. But other than that, and so, so 2 years of that, and then back to Toronto, and then I was in Vancouver doing stand-up for about a year. I'm not a big fan of the Vancouver comedy scene. But
No, it's very mirrors the LA comedy scene with none of the stakes.
Yeah, well, exactly. That's what it is. It's a similar sort of mentality, but there's not really anywhere, and it's tough to grind there too. Like there's just not enough. There aren't enough rooms. There's not enough stuff going on.
Well, I started there
in Vancouver.
And there was nothing. There was zero. There was, laugh lines. And then there was Punchlines, which closed literally the month that I was going to start comedy in Gastown. And
there was no Yuck Yucks there yet.
Yeah.
Was there?
Yeah. Yuck. That's where I started. I did my first show with Seth Rogen.
Oh,
Me and
nice.
Seth started out around that time, and it was at the Plaza Nations in Vancouver, and it was next to a nightclub called The Rage. And at 11 o'clock, the nightclub would open up, and the people who got tickets... most of the people who bought tickets were using them to get into free to the club. So all these fucking suburban knuckleheads would come down with their cunt girlfriends and disrupt the show because they were antsy because they wanted to go and fucking dance to Big Shiny Tunes 1.
God. And then halfway through somebody's set, the room would just stand up en masse and walk upstairs.
And worse than that, before that they open up, they become anxious because they hear next door from the music.
Yeah.
And then they were like, oh, our party's starting. And they
sounds
start
like a
looking at their
nightmare.
watches and stuff. But very, very politically correct audiences.
Extremely. Yeah, that was the one thing. Vancouver is actually the first place I went where, like, when I went into a room, I was given a list of topics I wasn't allowed to talk about.
Whoa.
Yeah, like, which really surprised me. Because, I mean, like, this, like...
Fuck you.
Yeah, like, it's
Hand in your fucking card.
No, except, like, and I'm not, like, I don't really do rape jokes or, like racial stuff or anything. Just not because I have any problem with it. There's some great rape jokes out there. Like, if you're able to do it. It's not for me. It's not... I don't particularly. I didn't honestly.
You more or less like the act than the jokes.
Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. That's. I don't like to. I don't like to give away my secrets. No, it's just. But it's just like fuck. I love hearing. I don't like being told I can't do it if I want to.
First of all, it's none of their business. That's your personal.
Well, exactly. If somebody doesn't fucking no, but and they're like, well, there's servers here who will be triggered if you do, and it's like,
Yeah.
you know something.
Well, there's going to be smokers outside too, and a lot of those people have quit smoking. So get a hold of yourself.
No, it's ridiculous. Like you couldn't, not just that you couldn't do like, and again, like I don't do any racist jokes or even like the kind of mock, like for shock value kind of shit. It's just, again, it's not what I do. But like, it's not that you couldn't do that. You couldn't talk about anything race related. You couldn't like nothing. You couldn't bring up race at all. Like it wasn't a topic that you were allowed.
But you can say nigger on stage.
Well, of course. I mean, that's a given, right? Everywhere and
That's
anywhere.
the problem is Vancouver doesn't have enough black people to balance out the white guilt and fucking hipster horseshit.
Yeah, there's like 3 black people in all of Vancouver.
I know. I lived there from 93 to 96, and I saw 2 black people. It's a little unnerving when there's a majority of any race or religion in anywhere. I don't subscribe to any of their politics and horseshit, but
it's freaky. I did my undergrad in Newfoundland in St. John's, and
that's just fun.
St. John's is fun, but like I remember when I first got to St. John's, they have the you've been there,
yeah.
They have the George Street Festival they have every year in August, which is just this
which
huge,
is every weekend.
Yeah, basically. Technically, it's every. George Street is like, what is it? More bars per square foot than anywhere in North America or something like. It's crazy.
And vomit too.
Yeah. Oh, and just fights, just drunk and newfies beating the shit out of each other. But then they have this thing called Regatta at the end of the George Street Festival, which is this big boat race carnival thing. And it was like 2 days after I moved there, and I went to this, and it was this huge carnival with like 50,000 people there, and they were all fucking white. Which to me, like I grew up in Toronto. I'd never been in a room with 10 people where at least 4 of them were not. It was fucking scary to be surrounded by just that many white people all at the same time. It was like being at like a huge Klan rally or something. It was very weird.
Go to Iceland.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly. Well, my first wife was Swedish, so I spent some time in Stockholm, so it was very similar to that. Yeah.
My engagement was to a Swedish girl. I lived in Stockholm for a few years.
Yeah, it's nice, Stockholm.
I love it. What years were you in Stockholm?
We weren't there that long. We were just there a short over like the winter of like just a few years ago, the winter of 2014.
Okay,
and
I already moved. Yeah, a long time ago.
And it's like, and when we were there, like it's grim in the winter there, man. Like it's dark like midnight at like 3 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
and it's they're not the. I don't know. Like it's gorgeous. First of all, with Sweden, you know how it is. You go there and literally every single person you see looks like a supermodel. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, and then, me, little trolly Jewish guy walking around. And then, but like you go to bars and shit and.
Which I think there's about 10 Jews in all of Sweden.
In all of
I know 5 of them.
About all of Europe these days, actually. I think they did their job pretty well back in the 40s. But
I wouldn't consider it a job.
Yeah, well.
You don't apply for genocide.
I'm sure people did. I'm sure they had aptitude tests and shit for those SS guys. They must. I mean, they didn't just put anybody guarding the camp.
They're using profiles of stereotypical Jewish faces to aggravate them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the 2 minutes hate, but for Nazis. But no, and then the other thing is like you go to a bar in Stockholm and like. I mean, you know how like Toronto is, and even here to some degree, but Toronto very much so is like, or East Coast in Canada. You go to a bar, like you can go to a bar by yourself and just start talking to people, and you can end up having a good time. And there, you talk to people, and they look at you like you're fucking weird. They're very, very reserved.
Most definitely, and you have to prove yourself to them for them to let you in. They're very, hold it close to their heart.
Yeah. Oh, and it's to get an emotion out of them sometimes can be very, very difficult. And then it's also what surprised me is they're so strict about drugs there. I kind of figured it would be like like the Netherlands or something where at least with pot it'd be because you think Sweden liberal kind of
European vibe. Everything's a little more relaxed.
You can't even get like NyQuil in a drugstore there. Like, it's fucking crazy.
I've tried.
Yeah, no, it's nuts. You can get like very weak aspirin and that's about it. And pot is like somebody gave me a joint. I don't really smoke pot anymore. So somebody, like a friend of my wife's, gave me a joint, and I didn't want it. So I walked out. We were in some club. I can't remember what the fuck is Sky Bar or something like that.
Oh yeah, in Stuart Plum.
Yeah,
it's a gay bar.
Yeah, exactly. And we got tossed out for whatever reason. I was a little drunk, but I had this joint in my hand, and I walked out, and there was like a lineup of people outside, and I walked up to a guy and said, "Hey, do you want this joint?" Which in Toronto, if you do that, you're a fucking hero.
Totally.
If you the guy fucking lost it on me.
Started yelling at you?
Screaming at me. Like, what the fuck did I think I was doing giving him drugs? And he fucking lost his shit on me. And I didn't understand what the fuck was going on. Because, like, even before it was basically, it's been basic. I mean, it's not technically, but it's been basically legal in Canada for fucking ever. Nobody else stopped. You can walk down the street smoking a joint.
And have like an ounce on you.
Yeah.
Apparently.
And you might, if you get picked up, they'll give you a ticket and they'll take it away from you. But I mean, you could literally walk down the street in Toronto smoking a joint in front of a cop and they won't fucking do anything.
So, if you're listening, it's the opposite of California.
Yeah.
There's tumbleweeds of marijuana rolling down Sunset Boulevard. It just smells like pot every turn.
Yeah.
It's like, is that incense? No, that's somebody smoking a cannon on their front porch.
Well, I like even Vancouver now with they have the dispensaries there like they do here, but it's even less strict there. You don't need a card or anything in Vancouver. You can just walk into dispensaries.
Yeah, because they know that if they don't sell it to them, that someone on the corner, really outside the door, anyone got hell over here? What do you need?
Well, you hear they're doing now. Like Ontario is finally going to be. They're going to be putting it in. They're going to be starting.
Is it the LCBO?
Yeah. Well, it's not going to be the LCBO, but it's going to be like a
franchise.
Pot LC or pot CBO, whatever it is, cannabis CBO,
That's
like the
great.
Cannabis Control Board. But
I don't know how organized crime feels about this, but
it's good and it's bad though because the problem is they can charge any fucking price. I can't. Them doing it like first of all. As much as I fucking love it, it's fucking weird that the government's going to be a fucking pot dealer.
Yeah,
like, that's fucking.
You
strange.
showed up late, asshole. Fuck you.
And then they're going to charge a fortune for it, and so I don't see it getting rid of the black market because if they're if they're charging too much and or their selection isn't good or whatever, and they're not allowing private dispensaries, so there's not going to be any competition at all. I can't
monopoly.
Yeah, they're going to have a monopoly, which means they can charge any price they want, and then the penalties are going to be much stricter for any black market stuff. Yeah, and I don't know if it's better or worse that they're doing it that way. They've shut down all the dispensaries in Toronto because it was they were starting to pop up, but now they're
Chris Goodwin, from Hamilton's a good buddy of mine. I see him and his girl being arrested like twice a year and for a bunch of bullshit. They had a dispensary open up, I think, for a day. Really nice one on King Street near the Stanley Park.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right across the street from there, and
like King and fucking what is that? Like King and John or King and no, I guess that'd be farther over, like King near Spadina.
Yeah.
Or the other side. Yeah, the other side of Spadina. Yeah.
And I was like, cool. This is right down the place from my apartment. And next day, the cops are out there pulling bags. They didn't even, I think, get their doors open.
Well, what happened was after Trudeau won, and he had said he was going to legalize pot. So I guess a lot of these dispensaries open in Toronto just anticipating the need that it would be there. They figure, oh, we'll open up. It's going to be legal soon anyways. What the fuck are they going to do? But instead, they went the other way and they fucking raided.
They hogged it. They took the cake and they pulled it all into their lap.
And I don't even see what the point is because, I mean, they could just let private dispensaries happen, collect the taxes. They'd still make just as much money. But
totally. And the contribution that they make financially and their like Chris runs a cool business. Like he's very hospitable and he has a wealth of knowledge, not only in the marijuana field, but clearly in the legal aspect of it.
You have to basically be like a jailhouse lawyer to open one of those places. Yeah,
it's really crazy. But I want to talk a little bit about punk rock.
Yes, we can do that.
You're a bunch of fucking goofs. I remember in Grimsby, Ontario, probably in '88, BFG came to play a show at this skateboard park in a hockey arena on a raised stage, and these guys had come in. I'd never seen anything like it. It looked like what was that punk rock zombie movie? Dawn of the Dead?
Return of the Living Dead.
Return of the Living Dead. They look like the cast of the Return of the Dead.
Yeah, because they did had like the Mad Max hockey gear, like hockey pads on with all the punk rock stuff. Yeah, they were fucking great, man. They're still, or I shouldn't say they're still going. Steve's still
big. I remember they were big guys.
Steve's still going. I mean, with the band, the rest of the lineup has changed 100 times since 1988, but he's still going. He's still doing it. They still play. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been reading. There's a journalist. I can't remember his name. He's out of Vancouver. He does his company's called Fuck the Press.
Oh, it's Chris Walter.
Chris Walter.
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of books off of him. And
his books are great.
They are great, aren't they?
He's really good. Yeah.
I bought like 10 of them. I've got through 3 of them. So every time I go home, I take one with me and read it when I'm on the road. But he mentioned a lot of, it was a Daglow book I was reading.
Yeah, because he did. He wrote a book about Daglow. He wrote a book about DOA. He wrote a book about SNFU. Yeah.
It's cool. It's cool. I really, and it, I'd moved to Vancouver in the early 90s. So a lot of the things that he written about was like late 80s, early 90s stuff. So I was kind of around for some of those bands and stuff, which coincidentally is how I got into comedy. I left Hamilton in 93, I think, fall of 93 or spring of 93, and moved to Vancouver and was looking into possibly getting into music or comedy. But whatever was going on at home was not happening. So when I moved out there, I started to hang out with a lot of bands and go to shows and stuff like that, and found out that there was a lot of different things going on mechanically and personally to make a band work. And I realized I didn't want to be part of that.
Yeah, it's too much. You got to wrangle guys and gear and the whole thing.
I can't leave my job, my girlfriend, this, blah, blah, blah.
Oh, it's a nightmare.
There's a laundry list of potential excuses just dealing with a secondary person. So as I started to kind of get up to the start line, I'd be opening for bands and things and stuff around Vancouver and, Minority. There was a whole Muscle Bitches, Bloody Worm.
God, I love Muscle Bitches with the little tiny guitars. Yeah, man. I played with them back in Toronto at where'd we play with them at the Elmo, the old the Elmo back in the day when it was like a fucking rundown shithole.
They rock.
And they were so fucking good. And he come out with the saxophone and with the chick and they're like cool, weird kind of fucking hair metal kind of stuff, but songs about elephants and shit. I don't know, man. They were fucking good. Muscle Bitches.
I don't know the technical end of it, but they had little flying V's.
Yeah, they custom made them. They made them themselves. These little tiny, but they sounded like perfect, like real full size guitars. But they were like, but they were like a foot and a half long. It was they looked like little toys, but they sounded perfect.
Yeah, there was a lot of bands that were there was so much variety of styles of music and stuff in Vancouver around that time. I don't know what now. I think it's more of a there's a few places around the Cobalt.
The music's like the Cobalt's done basically. I mean, the Cobalt because it was sold and now it's more of it's kind of a dance club than anything else now.
Is it?
Yeah, Vancouver's really. I don't know the music scene there.
Because the poor people can't afford to keep the scene alive. No, they can't live there.
No, you can't. And you can't, nobody goes to shows and then the clubs close and then everybody bitches that there aren't anywhere to go to shows. So it's I don't know. I could go on for a long time. I can't stand Vancouver. Vancouver's like I hate Vancouver.
Really?
Yeah, I can't stand it. I
get it. You're being an Ontario guy and bringing those kind of politics to Vancouver, you're like, You guys are pointing in the wrong direction.
Yeah, it's like this weird mix of like pretentious and gross all at the same time, which is
I think that's how New Yorkers look at people in L.A.
I wouldn't be surprised. See, whereas I came to L.A. I chose
And it's how London, England looks at the rest of the world.
Well, yeah, exactly.
You fucking cunts.
I came to LA though just because, like, I mean, I had the choice, right? I'm like, fuck, if I'm gonna do comedy, I'm gonna do it for real. I've been doing it long enough. I gotta do New York or LA.
Yeah.
And I basically chose LA because proximity to Vancouver and weather. It was December, and I'm like, you know what? I don't want to deal with winters anymore. And I kind of thought I didn't know anything about LA. I'd never been here before, other than like a few days back in like the '90s. But and I didn't know if I fucking loved it. I love LA. Like I love it here.
Yeah.
I never want to
get rid of the people.
Yeah, well, I get rid of
everybody
the people
except the Mexicans and the Latino people could stay.
Yeah.
All the white ones gotta go.
They can fucking go. But that's kind of true everywhere, though. Is there really anywhere you want to go where you want to deal with the white people that are there?
I think white chicks are the worst.
God, get me fucking started.
They're ruining my career.
Oh God. So so what the fuck's going on?
Not much. I was on tour in Europe. I just did 2 weeks in Denmark and 2 weeks in Sweden, and then a couple weeks in Canada.
I was trying to think of like the first time I was aware. Like, when was your Comedy Now special? 2000. Yeah, that's which I think is the first time I ever saw you doing comedy was on that special. So fuck, this is 17 years ago. Yeah, that's a good fucking special, man.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know what? For at that time and what was going on in my life, for me to do that and. Indirectly, it helped me get my green card. I won a Emmy award in Gemini, in Canada, so it helped bump me up to green card. But Mark Breslin put his arm around me after I'd won. Surprisingly, I was up against Majunder.
Yeah.
Sean Majunder and
was that? I guess Russell Peters was a little after that.
Russell was a couple years after that, and I was shocked when he told me. He goes, "Oh, you got a Gemini? I've been nominated." And his career was just like a juggernaut.
Well, that Comedy Now special, what it did for him when someone stuck that on YouTube. I mean, but there were a few good ones. Like yours was really good. Sean Collins had a really good one.
Tom Stay. There was a few.
There were a few really good ones. Nikki Payne had a really good one, and from around that same sort of era. Jeremy Hotz, who's another one of my favorite Canadian comics.
I think Wilmont had one, Mike Wilmont.
Yeah.
I think there was more CBC comics, but there was, I think, out of every season, there was 2, maybe 3 specials that were like, wow, this is really good everywhere. This is a solid special, but there was a lot of micromanaging and stuff with the comedians and how the material was going to go. I can imagine things like that. I
just saw Alex Nussbaum is living here. His Comedy Now was really good too. Yeah. He had a really good one.
They used to do these things. Anybody who's not now, we're talking comedy.
Oh yeah, I guess we're getting kind of like esoteric here.
Yeah, there's a lot of people
comedy
listening in other parts of the world. They used to offer 1 hour and half-hour specials, kind of like what they did with HBO and Comedy Central and Showtime, and that was kind of our big thing. Yeah, because we didn't have any talk shows around that time. The Bullard Show kind of came and went.
Ed the Sock.
Yeah, Kersner.
Yeah.
Steve Kersner. I did that show a couple times.
Me too. We were actually with the band. We were in the hot tub a bunch of times.
Yeah, I did. I did the hot. They had Craig Campbell, who hosted the Ed's Night Party. I think after the radio personality.
Oh, after Humble Howard.
Yeah, I think Craig did it, and he calls me. He goes, "Can you come down and sit in the hot tub with 2 chicks?" And I'm like, "Yeah."
It was fun, man. We did it twice. That was, how many people have co-hosted that show? Like Harlan Williams co-hosted that show, like way back in the day.
Yes, that was probably before Rocket Man, I think.
Oh, so way before. No, this was this is back when it was still on Channel 10, way before it was on City or Much Music. It was still public access at the time.
Another guy, awesome. Harlan.
Oh, I love his comedy. He's so fucking funny.
Have you run into him?
I haven't run into him yet. No, but he's fuck.
If you see him and I'm around, come and we'll.
Oh, I'd
Dumb
love
and
to.
Dumber, fucking all that stuff.
Fucking Half Baked.
Yes.
Yeah.
With Chappelle. And
with Chappelle, Jim Brewer. Yeah. What a good cast in that fucking movie. And Stephen Wright on the couch.
Wright.
Yeah. Fuck, that was
it was so perfectly casted to have Stephen Wright. I'm getting goosebumps. I saw him at Hamilton Place with my mother.
God, I'd love to see Stephen Wright
Yeah.
live. He was great in that. That movie was really good, and I know that kind of like Chappelle and Neil Brennan. I know kind of like feel real bad about it because I guess it kind of like it did so poorly. It kind of fucked with their careers. I think
it
for a little
really?
while. Yeah, it didn't do well.
well,
I
it's
think
like-
Brennan talks about it in his last special. Like
It's probably the equivalent to Beastie Boys' Paul's Boutique.
yeah, it's
Where it's like, and now it's revered as possibly one of their better albums.
yeah, it gets a cult following, exactly. And I mean, also, obviously, Chappelle now is, I mean, at the time in the 90s when it was done, he was not the legend that obviously he is now. I mean, if that movie came out today, it'd be a gigantic hit.
Fuck.
But, yeah.
They literally could almost re-release the same movie.
I'm surprised
and
someone hasn't already. I'm really, honestly, I'm surprised they're not like now with Chappelle's stature now in the industry. Like, I'm surprised someone isn't like, you know what, fuck it, let's re-release that. And
Can you imagine a part 2 with the same lineup with them now, like a kind of Dumb and Dumber aspect of it?
It'd be great. Well, though when you say a Dumb and Dumber aspect, I saw that second Dumb and Dumber. I don't know if maybe that's a good idea.
The one with Jim and
not the stupid
Dumb
like
and Dumber.
yeah,
That was the worst.
Not the ones with like the younger versions of them, but like the
Yes.
actual like Jim Carrey.
I'm so hopelessly dedicated and in awe of Jim. And Living Color was so
God,
influential.
he was
on
such a
that.
good stand-up too. Fuck, was he a good comic? And I mean, I don't know when the last time Jim Carrey did stand-up, but
He showed up at the Comedy Store the first time in like 19 years.
really,
Yeah. He was looking for casting for I'm Dying Up Here.
oh fuck,
So
I haven't watched it yet.
I saw the first episode. It looks great.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like we're living it. You know what I mean? I know most of the cast, and the nostalgia of it is kind of cool. The day 80s, I guess it is.
Yeah.
70s or 80s. But at least there's some more comedy in the mix outside of stand-up that's kind of representing stand-up.
Well, it's funny too. When I did that, like when I did those 2 amateur nights when I was 13, Breslin.
I can't believe you're at the Yorkville Club. That's legendary.
Yes, like I say, 1993.
Like Bill Hicks played that.
And it's
Sam
fun.
Kinison.
It's funny too because like up until a couple of years ago, they still had the same process they had back then to get on the amateur night. They like call at 10 in the morning and then call back at 4 o'clock to see if you got
Did you do it
on.
when Jack Norman was
I
hosting
had
it?
honestly, I swear to God, I could not tell you anything
Okay.
about. I was
You were
13. I couldn't tell you anything about anything.
And then you got in drugs and punk rock?
yeah, about a year later.
It's gone.
The only thing I remember is that Breslin was there for the second one that I did, and I was talking in the green room. I was talking to him, and he told me. And again, it could be bullshit. I don't know if it's true or not. But he told me that at that time I was the youngest comic who had performed there, and the person whose record I had beaten was Jim Carrey, who had performed there
no
when he was
shit.
14, and I had done it when I was 13. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what he said.
Have you ran into Mark then?
I saw him. I briefly when I was back in Toronto doing the album. I went and did one night at Yuck Yucks while I was there. And
Warm up?
Yeah, I did because I did some warm up shows through the week. One at Corner Comedy and one at Yuck Yucks and a couple of other shows, pot shows in the market. But he was there, and I kind of like nodded at him and said hi for a second. But I mean, it's fucking 20,
I get it.
25 years ago, and you know how.
Yeah, I get an impression from you. You've been in business.
Yeah.
And you're not going to shuffle up. Hey, do you remember this time
No.
that you don't really give a fuck about?
Exactly. And and you know how he is. He's sitting in the corner in his back table. He's got his laptop open playing his video games or whatever he's doing on there. And it was because they were doing the awards for because before like the early show was they were doing the awards for the Humber program.
Yeah.
And so he was just there to like hand out a couple of awards
Sure.
to the
Those
Tim
could
Sims
be
Award.
brutal.
Yeah.
Those Humber runs. I went to Humber.
Did you do the program there?
I was there the first year. I weaseled my way into a scholarship. They just started the program, and they had a summer program, and Mark had brought it up and said, look, I'll sponsor you. There's stand-up, writing, blah, blah, blah. So I took sitcom and screenplay writing.
Nice.
And then from that, I said, look, the program's starting. I have no money. I told Mark, I go, you know how much money I'm making here. I don't have 10 grand for this school. So they set up a showcase, and I think Martin Short was there, which is another Hamiltonian.
Yeah.
I'm going to raise that fucking Oski Wee Wee flag.
God.
And they allowed me to
Tiger
go in.
Cats. I'm just going to say it.
They tried to, they gave me a scholarship and then tried to kick me out 3 months later for being disruptive. I tried to bring some punk rock to comedy.
Exactly. Fuck him.
Right.
What do they want out of you there? I mean, especially Breslin knows who you are.
Yeah. And Mark pretty much called me. He goes, listen, just gotta cool a little bit here. I can't help myself. When I'm bored or whatever, I become disruptive, and and
Yeah, it's
pain in
ADD,
the
man.
ass.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally. That's why you get into music and comedy is to find some zen in your life.
Well, and plus you get an outlet then, and you can kind of. Although, like I say, that was my problem. Was apparently when I did comedy when I was 13, it wasn't the outlet out. It just made me want to be more disruptive, and God, can you imagine how good a fucking comic I'd be if I was like 35 or 25 years in now since I was 13 as compared to 6? Holy shit, it'd be great.
Yeah, but you could have been
I wouldn't
the
have
road.
Everybody you fucking meet in LA works in television. That's what every other person you talk to. What do you do? I work in television.
Sorry, we ran out of space on the memory card. So we're back from a fake commercial.
Yes.
We were talking about Humber College and, this comedy program. It was helpful for me in the sense that I learned a little more about structure and the language of television film.
Yeah.
I never really was good with story, but I could make things funny. So I usually team up with a writing partner.
And you do punch up.
And I do punch up
Yeah.
and kind of drive the story a little bit, and then he'll kind of make it sense.
Well,
So-
I did when I first moved to LA. I did the sketch writing thing at UCB. I took a course there,
Okay.
because I figured I'm here, and I mean, as far as a day job goes, I'd love to be doing that just to kind of support this other thing that I'm doing. But I wasn't a big fan of UCB. I thought I would be because I like the people who started
It's
it.
another
but,
clique, right?
Yeah, it's a whole other. It's the whole kind of alt scene here in LA is kind of weird. I don't have no problem with it. Some people are doing some cool stuff.
It's just too segregated.
Yeah, I don't go over very well in the alt rooms, and I don't know.
But aesthetically, you look like a guy who would thrive.
You'd think.
But because you have roots in Canadian entertainment, which is a little American and a little Monty Python,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I think you have probably a better rounded picture of what's good and what's not.
Well, it's also there's only so many comics I can sit through who there's no an entire set about how their gap year in Costa Rica didn't go well, or an entire set about how their dad
Dribble.
didn't pay that much attention to them when they were a kid, and
A lot of whining.
yeah, exactly, and then a lot of also. And I know this is a terrible thing to say, and I mean, I like it when the comedy scene is supportive to some degree, but it's a little too supportive in that scene. You need a little bit of you can't rip on each other. You can't kind of you need a little bit of edge to it. And they're just all so friendly and happy with each other, and it's kind of
But
weird.
it's all fraudulent
Yeah.
happiness because when you're on stage, there's no one else there.
Yeah,
And I really, I do like some camaraderie, but usually it's based in people that I've come up with. We have a long.
Yeah.
I know who they are. Where you run into this silliness.
Well, you also know coming out of the punk rock world, there's camaraderie, but it's a whole different kind. It's just, it's people fucking trashing each other constantly, and it's
They're testing
fun.
you.
Yeah.
How punk are you?
Exactly, and that's what
How
I came out of that
punk
for
are
20
you?
years. Yeah,
Yeah. I think I do. I like that. That's why, the 70s and 80s of comedy. I don't know if it was the cocaine, but it was wild.
Yeah.
Everything was art in general was a little more wild. And that's the thing I kind of glorify in my head is this bell-bottom thing is going to come back again.
I'd love it to go back to that kind of Wild West sort of thing. Everybody just fucked up all the time and doing whatever they're doing. And I'm not saying everything
You've
needs to
been
be
down that road with the band, so that doesn't really appeal with it.
Exactly. For me personally, my doing lots of drug days are kind of over. I'm fucking old. I don't really do drugs anymore, and I don't even really drink that much anymore. But I just mean, and I don't mean things should go Kinnison level, fucking fucked
G.G.
up.
Allen?
Yeah, or G.G. Allen level, fucking. But I just mean, I don't know.
I'm trying to just stay under that. It's kept me out of a lot of corporate gigs.
It's so. Yeah, I can imagine. Jesus.
Throwing shit on a cruise ship.
Yeah, it's probably not a great idea. And then eating it.
Yeah, straight from the tap in some cases.
Oh fuck! No, it's what I mean. It is what it is. I like the LA scene. It's just it's the comedy scenes in general now. Or it's just so weird with the internet and the way that it's how careful you have to be about everything. It's just such a fucking pain in the ass.
I will not be careful.
No, which is great. It's just that unfortunately, then you got fucking an asshole with a cell phone in every fucking show sticking your thing that you put out of context on the internet, and then the next thing you know, it's crazy.
Yeah, and I don't know if I had any kind of foresight. I think after that comedy now, after playing the rules to as much as I could eat. And then being in Europe and finding that there was a lot of festivals, music festivals, and with comedy, there was a huge draw.
Really? Now, what was it like? Like with a comedy stage, or like comics in between bands, or
There's a stay. I've done like Download like 7 times in Sonosphere and Bloodstock and
really? That sounds fucking fun as hell, man.
yeah, maybe a dozen Metaltown in Sweden, a dozen of these festivals. But I opened for Mayhem, so it was a tent at Metaltown. It's like Unleashed, me, and Mayhem, and the transition from extreme, black metal to comedy was seamless.
Really? So it worked
perfect.
Because I mean, obviously not at that scale, but I mean, I've done those shows where it's like comics and then or like bands and then like being up as a comic in between the bands, and some of those shows can go really bad. Like sometimes
we're doing shows at the Big Bop.
Yeah,
that's where I'd go, and hang out at those shows. Go, can I do stuff in between sets? And more times than not, it was awful.
No, yeah, because nobody wants to. Like they're not in a comic mindset. They're especially in between bands. That's their time to talk to each other and go get beer. And
yes.
I did it at the Bovine a bunch of times. The same thing. Like,
I bombed there. I think every single time.
Yeah, it's not a. But I can see. I guess if in a big festival like that and people actually know you're going to be coming up, like they're expecting comedy as well as music. Like
but they weren't. That's the thing.
Really,
the audience is in. Like there was a small population of people that had come there to see me specifically, but the majority of the audiences were just people there. Oh, there's a comedian. Let's go see what that's all about, and not fuck with it.
Is it? What do you think? Do you think it's European audiences? Do you think that's the difference?
It's more arty. Like there's.
They're more open-minded.
You know how they have like Ron Jossel was here earlier, and he said I do. When I first got here, he was doing a Filipino comedy show called Slanted.
Okay.
So they have like these North American kind of, especially in the U.S., black this, Asian this, that. So you're kind of under the.
Yeah, like they pigeonhole your thing. This is what you are.
Yeah. And it's keeping the stereotypical horse shit going, right? That's why I'm sure you've been to shows here and you're like, the subject matter and the material is from the 90s.
Yeah.
You've seen so many comics and you're like, where have you been?
And the thing is, sometimes those people fucking kill.
Most times they do.
It's so terrible.
Oh, I know what he's talking about. I've heard that before.
Fucking nothing in the world I hate more than seeing a fucking hacky comic kill. Like just doing the Monica Lewinsky jokes.
Well, you're
in
Satan's asshole.
I know.
Now.
But I don't know. But there's some cool stuff here too, right?
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have been here for 9 years if there wasn't something to draw. It's beautiful and at the same time. Being unwanted here is a gift.
It's tough to get in. It's tough to. I'm still trying to figure out how to get into like the whatever the next level is. Like,
sure.
I mean,
a lot of hanging around.
Yeah, that's basically what I'm finding.
And exhausting. And I think you've been in the business at other ends of it and know that I got shit to do. I don't need to hang around. I just point me where to perform.
Yeah, well, it's very nebulous, kind of like, this over here, this is kind of the process, and then this over here, there isn't really a process. You just kind of hang around until somebody decides that they feel like taking a look at you, or it's kind of weird. I was
talking with Ron earlier. It's kind of the equivalent of what you would see the workers hanging outside of Home Depot. They've kind of showed up and they've all got some skill sets, and then some guy backs up with a truck and goes, you, and you. And
really, really.
I've been doing comedy for 20 years and I'm very good at, well, it doesn't matter. I like this guy's smile. Yeah. He's going to be doing this show.
That's a really good fucking analogy because that's exactly what it's like.
And you're standing there shoulder to shoulder with a bunch of other guys. Pick me.
Yeah.
Price is Right.
God. Yeah, that was a trip, man. That was, I went on my birthday, back in January to I just wanted to go. I just wanted to, it's the fucking Price is Right.
And Jack Black was hosting. It wasn't Drew.
No, it was Drew was hosting. Jack Black was there. It was like Celebrity Charity Week. So Drew was hosting, but Jack Black was like there to help us play the games.
And how nice is Drew?
Drew's super nice.
Yeah.
Super nice. Jack Black was also very nice. Everybody, they weren't assholes at all, even after, what happened. He was very fucking cool about it.
And you want to describe? It's online if people are curious, but I'll let you tell the story. So you go, you wait in the I'm assuming you wait in the long line up in the sun for
like
hours.
You get tickets and you got to be there at like 8 a.m. and you know you're going to be inside, but you got to wait and you go through this whole long ass process. And then what I'd done is like I'd read a whole bunch of articles online about people who'd been on the show, and they all said kind of the same thing. It's like if you want to get called down, they say it's random, but it's not at all.
No, two guys stand on either side and they scan the audience.
Well, it's even before. What they do is when you're going in, they take this group. They do these pre-interviews where they take like 20 to 30 people aside, and then a guy, like the warm-up comic, just kind of goes down the line, just kind of asking questions. And what I kind of read is if you are the most like balls out, bonkers, out of your mind, enthusiastic person in your group during the pre-interview, you will get called down. And so I just went fucking apeshit during the pre-interview.
And they're watching the groups. They know where they're seated, and they're watching for contestants.
Like they want they do not like if you ever want to go on The Price is Right, don't let whatever voice in the back of your head says, maybe I'm going too far. No. Do not fucking hold back. Go as far as you can. And so I went. And they called me down, like the third person they called down. I also told them it was my birthday, because it was, and obviously that helps too, because they like a birthday person to come down.
Sure.
I get called down, and I win my bid right away, like on the thing. If it's fucking freaky, man. It's like, because it's Drew instead of Bob Barker, but otherwise it's exactly the same. Like none of the sets have been updated or changed.
They wheel shit out on wheelie car. It's all very even dollar store.
Dude, it literally, it's like walking, like stepping into your childhood. It's fucking weird. And so I called down, and then I lost my pricing game because which was just some game I'd never heard of, where I had to like choose which items were more expensive, and I didn't pick the kielbasa that Jack Black told me to pick. If a movie star ever tells you to pick the kielbasa, pick the kielbasa.
Is he rooting for you?
Yeah, he was like really, really trying to help. And then when I did the wheel to go to the showcase, I spun 95.
So you win your showcase.
Well, no, before this, I lost my pricing game, but you still get to spin the wheel to go to the showcase. And I spun 95 cents on my first spin.
That's like,
and it's like the
second largest.
The only thing that could have beat me was $1. So I spin 95 and I high five Drew, and I go running over to Jack Black to high five him, and I fucking blew the high five and I missed, and I smacked him right in the face.
He went down.
And he went down. He obviously played it up a little bit. And like even when you watch the video clip, they've added a sound effect of a slap, because I only kind of glanced him, but he played it. And it was funny, and we had a laugh about it. And then I went on. I ended up winning the fucking showcase, which was cool.
Oh, what'd you win? A brand new car.
No, I wish. If I'd won a car, I had to forfeit everything, because it's the taxes are insane, especially as a Canadian. You have to pay like this 30% IRS tax. I would have had to pay like I won supposedly $14,000 or $30,000 in prizes. I would have had to pay like $14,000 in order to collect. And it was like I won 2 trips, which you can't resell them. You have to go on them, and they value them like at 3 times what they would actually cost. So it's just not worth it. So they ended up sending me a check for $1,000 a few months. I think because I did a bunch of these interviews talking about how I forfeited everything, and I think they heard them, and so they called me like 3 months later and like, we're going to send you $1,000, which was nice of them.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. But anyway,
cool.
It aired like a month and a half later. And when I thought like me winning the showcase would be the big deal that I was really happy about. I had kind of forgotten about
the slap. You were going to cut the slap out? Or?
I didn't think they'd cut it. I just didn't think it was that big a thing, because in the moment it just felt like, I just kind of tapped him in the head, and he fell down. It was kind of funny. But they cut that clip up and they put it on their Facebook. Their like the Price is Right Facebook thing, and then he reposted it himself, Jack Black. And then it went fucking crazy. Like millions and millions of hits. I had to shut down my fucking internet for a while because I just couldn't like do anything.
Was your obviously your name was attached to? So you're getting some traction from it.
It was just I got interviewed by like CBC and Toronto Sun and that kind of shit. And I mean, whatever. It's a fucking
violent Canadian.
Yeah,
it goes into Hollywood. And starts punching celebrities.
It was on CNN. It was on Fox News, which means Donald Trump fucking saw it. If it was on Fox News. And he fucking laughed at it too. God. He did. A fucking Hollywood celebrity getting smacked in the face, that's exactly the kind of shit he would like.
Oh, totally.
But, and I mean, it's like the dumbest thing in the world to be, like, that's the one thing, if I don't do anything else in comedy now, that's all I'm going to be remembered for, is the guy who fucking slapped Jack Black in the face.
That's not bad. On The Price is Right, I went, Drew was at the Improv one night, and saw me perform and said, listen, here's my assistant's phone number. If you ever come to The Price is Right, you can come down. You can't compete in the showcase, but we'll see you in the front.
Nice.
And I went in there with my goth girlfriend. So we're the only people in black. And it's like Skittles and electricity in there. Everything's brightly colored, and people are going
they go fucking crazy.
Mental. It was contagious. I was feeling happy.
And it's weird when you're there because you can't hear the music. Like you can't hear anything. Like you can't hear the music. You can't even hear them call you down. Like they have to hold up cue cards and stuff because everybody's just going so fucking out of their minds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun. It's arguably one of the happiest places in the world.
It's great. It really is. And I was like you. I went like not dressed or prepared for it. I didn't think anything was going to happen. I went like not shaved and wearing like a shitty
sleeping
t-shirt.
bag over your shoulder.
Yeah, like I looked like such a bum when I was on stage. I actually remember like being on stage standing next to Jack Black and had been sweating so much. I'm like, fuck, I got to like not stand too close because I fucking
smell like a
stink
salt
right
lick.
now. Yeah, this is not good.
Well, that's great. You know, like as far as, coming to LA and doing, it's not obviously your dream, but to have those moments, it's cool.
It is. Hey, listen. Even though I had to give up all the prizes, it's still a blast. It's still a great story, and it was still a super amount of fun. I mean, what a great birthday! But and it's it's a dumb thing to be kind of like to go viral for. But I got some bookings out of it, and I got some interviews.
It was an honest mistake.
Yeah.
In a funny way. So it took on its own life. You have no control over it anymore.
No, exactly.
And it's not like you're up on some sort of charge.
No, exactly. And it was for like a very brief moment. I was the Cash Me Outside girl, and it was I got some Twitter followers out of it. So I guess that's
cool.
good. Yeah.
You've been here for how long now?
Just about a year. December in like 2 weeks. It'll be a year.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And what other Hollywood moments have you had? Because it's weird. Because you'll be in people got to go eat and go outside. So you run into people.
You see them, yeah. Like it's
how
just,
many times you run into Ron Jeremy since you've been here?
I haven't run into him. I was supposed to, but because I ran into my friend. Do you know Mars Roberts? DJ Mars. He was a DJ in Toronto for years. He used to DJ at Catch 22 and at Velvet and a bunch of places.
I was talking. Well, Spooky Rubin.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's a buddy of mine, and I met him at the Kibbutz Room, where Spooky does his show, and I met your buddy Max.
Mars. Well,
Mars.
Well, the funny thing is because Mars made.
I was in Sweden when they were doing the premiere there, but I had to leave the day before.
The guy who Spooky Rubin plays in the movie is based on me. Because 20 years ago, I worked in the office like with Mars. No, it's based on this telemarketing office we used to have for a day job, and I worked there with Mars. And Spooky plays a guy named Junior, which I was Junior. That was me. So Spooky's actually playing me in the movie, and so I was at the LA premiere, and so I did. Ron Jeremy wasn't there, but I did run into Nina Hartley, which was cool.
I saw her. I was going to go in. I was in the neighborhood, and I walked by, and I saw Nina come up the street, and they were looking. And I go this way, and then her boyfriend goes, "Do you know who she is?" I go, "Of course. I get a cock."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. What guy out there doesn't know who Nina Hartley is?
He goes, "Oh, I didn't know she was that famous." Clearly, her boyfriend was younger than me, and didn't know that the weight that she had in the adult film industry.
Yeah, how could you not? Jesus, she grabbed my ass. It was a big moment for me. Big moment for me. Nina Hartley grabbed my ass. So yeah, that's a good Hollywood LA moments. There you go, right there.
Yeah, it's like porn stars and rockers.
If there are certain people you see around all the time, I fucking see Kevin Smith everywhere I fucking go.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, he's usually at the Ice House and the Improv doing his show.
No, I'll see him like at that farmer's market on at Sunset on Sunset there, and like
cool.
Sunday. Yeah,
in a hockey jersey.
Yeah, of course, the same fucking hockey jersey every time. Or like I was working on Melrose for a while. You'd always see people fucking walking up and down, or driving around in those fucking crazy cars you see everywhere here. But
they look like model cars. Like there's the attention to detail of how much money's been dumped in those things.
You see a Lamborghini in Toronto maybe once a year or two. Here you see like 12 of them a day. It's
Bentleys,
fucking crazy.
Rolls Royces,
and they paint them so terribly too. There's like Bentleys with camouflage on them and shit. It's like, why do you do that or I guess they don't paint them. It's the wraps, but still, why do you fucking do that to such a nice car?
Because they're rich
and they don't give a fuck. Which I guess, yeah,
you could get a Bentley and live off of that the rest of your life.
My wife and I just moved to like just at the bottom of the Hollywood Hills, just where it starts to go up. And so I was bored one day. I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna walk up and check out the fucking houses up there. Like it's crazy.
Go up at Runyon Canyon and just look over that ravine, and it's mansions.
Yeah, it's nuts. It's crazy. This town is like the opulence in this place is insane.
Russell bought a house in Hidden Hills. It's 9,000 square feet.
Jesus Christ! I haven't run into him yet. I'd really like to.
Yeah. You should. He's my brother, man.
He's great. I remember watching him. Remember back that fucking. You must have done it too. Actually, I can't remember if I ever saw you on there. That comedy at Club 54 thing in Burlington. Did you do that? The Ben Guy thing.
I met Russell.
Yeah,
I'd moved back from Vancouver. And I was trying to get on the Club 54. I'm like, I'm in comedy. I got to start showing my face.
Yeah.
Maybe get on TV. I didn't know what was what. Russell was a headliner. I knew exactly who he was from his CBC comics and stuff like that. And Ben Guyatt, Russell didn't even shake my hand. He looked at Ben and he goes, "You need to put this guy on television."
Nice.
After my set, and we've been friends.
What a
ever
fucking
since.
great guy. Yeah, I like I say, I haven't met him yet. I'd really like to, but yeah, like that's the first time I remember seeing him when I was like a teenager on that comedy at Club 54. Like he grinded for years before he like blew. I mean, now he's the biggest comic in the world, but like I mean, for like, if you didn't know from this, like I just remember seeing him on like shitty television shows in Canada for like 10 years of just him doing like I say comedy at Club 54, or you know those shitty like old just for laughs things they used to put on TV back like when
Hosting this, do a little bit of that.
Yeah, when the Comedy Network had no content, so they would just broadcast any stand-up comedy they could find anywhere.
Yeah, they knew the comedians will work for nothing.
Yeah, still
And,
they still apparently will work for will pay nothing for the comics.
Video
there.
on trials. I think comics were getting a couple $100 for those, and that was the most popular show on Much.
Yeah, well, that even recently that Keys to the VIP thing, I think they weren't paying the comics for that or something.
Keys to the VIP. I remember vaguely.
It was this dumb. It was this
show?
No, it was this dumb show where they some comics would like sit around and like talk about girls in the like the VIP areas in nightclubs and shit.
Wow.
It was kinda,
in Canada.
Yeah.
How corny is that?
There were a couple like who was on? I think Monty Scott was on
That
it for a
chick
while.
over there from
and,
Sarnia with the black eye and the colostomy bag. She's been looking at me with her lazy eye.
God,
Those are cornball horseshit shows.
yeah, they're terrible. Well, it's Canadian TV. Canadian TV is about 90% fucking horseshit, and then 10% amazing. But but,
you get a Kids in the Hall once in a while.
yeah, Kids in the Hall, greater. You know, it's like SCTV, and then Kids in the Hall, and then what?
House of Frightenstein.
Hilarious House of Frightenstein was like, well, you're from Hamilton, so I guess that's some Hamilton shit right there. That was CACH, I think, originally back in the day. There's a few. I mean, Corner Gas wasn't bad. I've met Brent Butt a couple times. He's a nice guy, and that show was. I mean, for Canadian TV, it's pretty good.
Typically Canadian, and obviously it's been on there for a long time, so there is an audience for it. I don't really relate to it. Obviously, it's not my. I'm trying to.
It's very mild.
It's a footloose thing for me. I want to be Kevin Bacon. I don't want to be the sheriff.
Yeah, I understand completely. That's another great analogy. Fuck, you're on fire with those today, man.
I just draw lines where I see fit.
Yeah.
There's no context. It's just Anyway,
Makes perfect sense to me.
but you're doing shows. Do you have shows?
Right now, no, because I've just.
That's like every other comic in LA. There's a pause because it's like I'm fucking trying to.
Yeah, I don't have. What do I have right now? I got a roast battle November 21st, I think. Yeah, November 21st. So yeah,
The Comedy Store.
Yeah, the Comedy Store. So if you're around the Comedy Store and want to stop in the Belly Room on the 21st, I'm
Get there early.
Yeah, seriously.
It's packed. The place holds 60 people and they put 100 in there.
Yeah, they really rammed it. And I need to. My last couple of roast battles have been fucking awful, so I got to redeem myself a little bit.
Well, I could contribute.
Please.
Do you, who's your?
I don't know if you've seen him. He's a comic named Mike Ishak. He's a Middle Eastern dude, former Marine. He's fucking hilarious. He's a funny fucking comic.
Did you approach him or did he approach you?
Well, we kind of decided together. It was at my last roast battle. We were talking, and we've been friends like since kind of not long after I moved here, and like we did the Ice House a couple times together, and he's and plus just with the Jew and Arab thing, we figured we could get some
There's
traction
some
out of
tension
that.
there.
Yeah.
Really? Why is that?
Well, no, there's no real tension. Yeah, but yeah,
Is there some
exactly.
history?
I don't know. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know. I just don't like the beards. That's what it is.
You're more curls.
Yeah, exactly. The hair should be up here, not down here. But no, so that's going to be.
Bringing a 100-year-old war into the Comedy Store.
God, yeah, exactly. So that's gonna. I did the last, like not the last roast battle. The one I did before that was it was a dumb one. I ended up doing the like July 4th one, and I went wearing a Canadian flag. So I already dug myself like a huge hole, and then I just could not dig myself out of it. It did not go well. I really wanted to too. I really wanted to like win one for Canada.
Show up representing. But that's the thing. I did it once early in the stages of the show, and it was I didn't hate the guy enough really.
It's-
And then the stuff that it was brought out on me was kind of sad.
That's, you know what, I don't think, like, I kind of did it the first time just because I like, it's not really like a strong suit for me, so I just kind of wanted to flex that muscle a little bit, see if I can do it. And then the first one went really well, so then I got cocky and thought, oh, maybe I can fucking do this.
Yeah.
And then the next few have just been pretty terrible. So now my record right now is 2-2. I just want to like win one more so I get like a winning record, and then I think this will probably be my last one.
Well, that's definitely a good entry level way to make a name in the city.
Yeah.
You know, there's some other backdoor things that you can get on where you're not necessarily being picked to be booked on shows, but things like roast battle.
Well, roast battle, or you know what? And I mean, like, I obviously won't fucking do them in most places, but like, I'll do a fucking bringer at the comedy show if it'll get me on stage there, because that's what you got to do. It's
not personal.
No, it is what it is, and it's, you know what? There's people who have been putting their time in there for a long time, so it's not like I feel like I'm entitled to jump any cues or anything like that.
You're a working class kid coming out. I'll do my. It's like I always approach it as like an apprenticeship to any trade.
It's exactly right. I mean, it's kind of. I mean, it sucked. Like, because I'd gotten, not that I was doing like super hot in Canada, but I'd gotten to a certain point in Canada where I was able to get book shows whenever, and I was able to make a few bucks here and there. And then you come here and you got to start for all
less than zero.
Yeah, less, which is fine, and I was happy with that. And it was kind of fun going back and just doing 4 or 5 open mics a night again, and just and meeting new comics, and you can kind of like just start. There's no preconceived notions of anything, and you can just kind of
build yourself
start again.
From that.
Yeah, so that was kind of cool. But now I'm at the point where I've been here for a year, and I'd like to start. I'd like to get to a point where I can like do the clubs on a more regular basis. So which would
repetition
be nice.
is very difficult here.
It really is.
A taste for repetition, but where can people get a hold of you?
I have my website is down right now, so that's fucking terrible. My Twitter is Kill Andrew Fox. My Instagram is Kill Andrew Fox. My Facebook is Andrew Ryan Fox, and I have AndrewRyanFox.com. Although if you go to it right now, you won't get anything.
It's on hold.
Yeah, it'll be like it's down right now. Just revamping it with the album coming out. So and I've got my album that I just recorded in Toronto, Andrew Ryan Fox live at the Velvet Underground, which was recorded in Toronto. Which I finally just got some of the rough mix today, and it will be.
It's a long process.
Yeah, it's fucking. It's a nightmare, and that will be released within the next month or so, and then that'll be
your
good.
Music.
And then
do you still represent your?
Well, we did, like, the Three Tards officially broke up like as a full-time band in.
I think I saw you guys at Sneaky D's.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah.
We played there quite a bit.
Yeah.
We broke up as a full-time band in 2009, and then we kind of, every 2 years or so, we would do these reunion shows because we could still fill a room if we did it once every, like, it used to be we could fill a room whenever.
Annually.
Then it was like we had to do it once a year to fill a room, and then it was once every 2 years, and then I think like the last one we did it out at the Rock Pile in almost Mississauga there in Etobicoke, and like 30 people showed up, and we were kind of like, you know what, maybe that this is, we are now past the thing. But you can find, I mean, listen, you can go on any of the streaming services, Spotify or Google Play or Pandora or any of those, and you can find all the Three Tards records are on there.
Wicked.
And if you do live somewhere in Canada that still has a record store, which I think there might be 1 or 2 left around, you can probably find us in those too. But other than that, you can look up the Three Tards. We're all over the fucking internet. And there's a lot of pictures and video of me naked all over the fucking place. So
me too.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on the show.
Thank
Andrew.
you, Jason. Man, this was a fucking blast.
We never really had any. There's always so much traffic around us when we're talking, and I figured just have you come in and we'll find out what's what.
This is great, man. Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to listen back.
I'm here till April, so we'll be running into each other.
Oh, I'm sure a lot. Yeah, we'll come out to the roast battle and watch me.
Yes.
Hopefully not crash and burn for another fucking time.
It is Fight Club of comedy.
It's actually, honestly, to this day, like,
scary.
It's the scariest. Like, this is the scariest thing I've done since like my first year of doing comedy. Like by far.
Yeah.
Like this, and like scarier
The
than
shame of it. It's failure is so crippling.
the 4th of July one. Was,
Look at you, you're talking like
no,
a
even now.
flashback.
Well, it's true. Well, because the 4th of July one is the only one I've done where Jeff Ross was actually there judging, and he just fucking tore me apart. Like, just, which is like, you're getting torn apart by like the master. Like, just fucking rip me apart,
Yeah.
and which is
And
it takes me like a week to recover after one. Like I don't do comedy for, like when I lose that badly.
you're a
like,
battered housewife.
Yeah, it's exactly it. Like I literally I don't want to leave my house. It's so humiliating.
Well, I can't wait to see what happens on what day?
I think it's November 20. Is that a Tuesday? November 20. Sorry, I got to look at a calendar here because I know
Let's
it's
get a date, because if people are in LA, regardless if you're a fan of Andrew here,
Yeah, sorry,
the night is fucking insane. At the Comedy Store Belly Room, is it free?
I think roast battle costs $10, I believe.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's and get there early. It's insane.
Yeah, no, you should. Yeah, it fills up very, very, very quickly. Sorry, I'm trying to find a fucking calendar app here just so I can look at it. There we go. It's Tuesday the 21st.
21st of this month.
Yes.
Fantastic. I think I'm going to go to Vegas for my birthday, which is on New Year's. So there might be some shows in Vegas.
I was
on
actually
New Year's.
thinking I might go to Vegas for New Year's myself. Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
Yeah,
just because
no.
the Leafs are playing the Knights on New Year's Eve in Vegas.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
I don't really get into the. I don't follow hockey, but New Year's in Vegas, there's a possibility we might be on the same building together in some form or another.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be
Fuck.
cool. Thanks for listening.
Oh shit! You wanted to promote some stuff. You go ahead. Sorry, I
Yeah,
totally
yeah.
interrupted you there.
You got some
Asshole.
cool. I'm going to be. It looks like in Europe for June and September. There's some things in the mix that I can't really discuss right now, but
Intriguing.
There'll be August, Ontario, bunch of yuck states, and Vancouver the first week of April. And I think there's going to be there might be a Winnipeg. I've never done a gig in Manitoba. I might be doing a show in April in Winnipeg.
Really, you never did the festival there?
No, I don't really. It's not for me.
Fucking Winnipeg.
I'd rather go open for Mayhem in Gothenburg than do a fringe festival in Winnipeg.
They get some good comics. I mean, Marin used to go up there a lot, and
Yeah.
they got it's. I mean, I don't know. I've never been, but
I'm very aggressive.
yeah.
I'm a bloodthirsty performer. A lot of people leave the shows confused, and it's like it's an attack. They've been attacked.
That's how it should be.
Thank you.
That's how it should be. Fuck them.
Thank you. And on that note, fuck everybody.
Fuck everybody. All right. Awesome.
I don't care what society thinks.